Well, hey, my name's Casey, and I'm going to be walking you through my web design process. And so I think it's super important that you have a process when you are designing or developing anything. And so I've already began working with my client, and we've really worked through the design process. And now I want to take you from what does it look like to take that design out of Figma and then move that into Webflow, build out a full website with the CMS collection, and then launch that website. And so over the next several videos, we're going to be walking through that together as I show you, what that process looks like. And really the key to this particular process is to be organized. And that's what I want to show you, my organization on the front end of the project before I really begin building out anything on any of the pages. What does that look like on the front end to make sure that I'm set up for success as I move through that particular build? And so let's get into the computer and let's check that out. All right, now we're here in, let me get my screen turned here. We're here in, the computer, and we are really looking at what does it look like to make sure that this particular build is going to be one that is organized and ready to go. And so the first thing that I've done is just gone through Asana, I've labeled out the project, and I've really put down all the different tasks that I need to do for this particular project. And as I work through this project, more tasks are going to be created here. It's going to grow throughout the time, but I'll show you the project here in Figma, and really it's a portfolio website for one of my clients, and we're going to be going through. We've already done the design work, and I feel like making sure that you have gotten most of the design work done on the front end is really crucial for a successful project. Last thing you want to do is be changing out whole pages and whole collections and things like that in Webflow after you've already spent the time building that out. And so if you make sure that you spend a little bit of extra time on the front end in the design stage, working in Figma where you can receive feedback, where you can show iterations, where you can do all of those things pretty quickly and get feedback pretty immediate. You can hop on a call and share your screen, or they can be on their own Figma file on their own screen, and you can make the designs right then and there. So much easier. So that's what we've done. We've walked through that process. We have everything laid out exactly how he wants, he feels like will be the best way to present his body of work to gain new clientele. And one of the first things that I have done in preparation for this build is I've gone through and I've really named everything. And so here you can see this section right here is going to be the open graph image, but then I also have the home header image in this particular section as well. And I've named that so that whenever I pull that into Webflow, I know exactly what it is where this image is going to go, what page it's going to go in, what section it's going to go in. Just keep everything nice and neat and organized. That's apart from the different classes that you're going to build in Webflow, but having this organization is going to really help you in the build process as well. And so I went through and named all of the different images, and I'm going to be pulling out of here. A lot of these are videos, and so I'm going to be pulling in different video embed links, but I've gone through and named all the different images, and then I have exported those out of Figma into a particular file structure. And so I have all the different files that I'm going to need for this particular website build, all the different portfolio pages and how they're going to be organized so that they're ready to be uploaded into the CMS collection. And I have all of that pulled out. The next step will be for me to upload those into Webflow and have them in an organized fashion in there, maybe even use some of the folder structures that they have in order to make that easy, and then change those into WebP format. Next, I took out the colors and made sure that those were out. And so in Webflow, Flowbase actually has a nice extension that works really well in their tool belt section, this color swatch importer. In Figma, there is a deal that you can run that will export all of your colors from Figma, and so all the color styles that you have named will export those. The gradients don't necessarily export and import in the way that I would hope that they would do, but maybe that's something that can be improved in the future. I think there's probably a limitation there in Webflow and how that particularly works, but I export all of those into a JSON file, and then I'll come back over here into Webflow, and I will upload those. And so as you can see here, all of the different color swatches have been exported and uploaded right into Webflow, and they will be named in the way that you've named those in Figma. After I do that, I'll take the different fonts that I'm going to be utilizing within this particular project, and I will make sure to export those. And so I use this Google Web Fonts helper that allows me to download the different fonts from Google in a way that it is accessible and that I can work with, and I'll upload the WOFF font into Google. And so into Webflow, excuse me. In order to do that, you just go to the project settings section of your particular project that you're working on, go to fonts, and you can upload those fonts right here by clicking the upload button. You notice that I just have 4 fonts that are uploaded. These are just the different fonts that I'm going to be utilizing. You really don't want to upload a bunch of extra fonts that you're not going to be utilizing, a bunch of extra weights that you're not going to be utilizing in your project. It's just going to increase load time. And the file that I'm uploading is the WOFF file. I found that that's the smallest file, and it's one that is going to work on most web browsers, if not all of them. I haven't really necessarily had a problem with that. Once I get those uploaded, and you notice here that I'm using one of Client First's, or one of FinSuite's wireframes, and often I'll start a project with either a wireframe or just their straight style guide. But having a style guide is so important for your particular project. If you don't have a style guide, it is really going to make things difficult for you when it comes to styling your website. And so once I get the colors uploaded, once I get the fonts uploaded, once I get all of my images outside of Figma into that folder structure that I showed you, I will work through this style guide from the very top all the way down to the bottom, making sure that I'm connecting up all of the different fonts, starting with the body font and making sure that that's going to be, in this particular project, is Roboto. And so I connect that up, and then I'm going to connect up all the headers, make sure that the sizes match up to the sizes in Figma. And one of the things that I've been using lately in Figma is Relume's project starter, and they actually have a style guide built in, and it's all based on the Client First system. And so I can plug in, and it tell me, I have a little section here where I can put what the size is going to be, what heading style that's going to match in Webflow, just to keep things even more organized and moving along quicker. You don't have to really think about it. You've set all this stuff up on the front end when you start the design, and then when it comes time to build, you're not like, well, what was that size? Let me try to calculate that into rims and all of that stuff. It's all right there for you. And so when you get to the style guide in Webflow, you just enter in all the information right over here on the side, and you are ready to go. And so all of these heading styles are matching the heading styles that I have set up in Figma. And then I'm going to work through this style guide from the top all the way down to the bottom, making sure all the weights match up, making sure that all the link styles match up, working on the rich text to make sure all those are matching up, and then get down here to the colors and making sure that all the colors are matching up with the different classes that are set up over here as well, so that if I need to change a color, then I've got that class right there. Boom, I can set that up, no problem. I'm ready to roll. As well as the background color. So there's going to be a lot of this purple gradient in the background. I've gone ahead and set that up so that when I move into the different sections, I can easily apply that to that particular section as a combo class. And then I'm even going to set up the buttons, making sure that they're matching up, and the hover states and everything like that is ready to go, so that when I begin the build process, I don't have to stop. I don't have to export, these different icons and put those into the buttons and format the button just right. So I've already done all of that. on the front end. And that is really the important part of getting your website ready to go and ready for this build, so that things are going to operate much smoother as you work through the website build. Organization is key. Organization is key. Making sure that everything is set up and organized on the front end is going to allow you to build much faster. The next step in my process is going to be to walk through that Figma file, and I'm literally going to put up a notes file on my desktop, and I really already have that here ready to go. If I pull this back, you'll see I've got my CMS structure here ready to go. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to just walk through these different CMS collections, and I'm going to write down literally every single field that I need, what type of field that's going to be. And I'm even going to write in the help text for my client as they begin to work through that particular process, so that they know exactly what this is going to do. But doing all of that work on the front end is going to make my life so much easier when I go to build out the CMS collection. All I'm going to do is copy and paste and put in the different fields that I need. Then I'm ready to really start structuring those pages. And so organization is key. Making sure that everything is set up is key. Making sure that the nav bar and the footer, I'm going to be doing that next in the process as well, before I really even put a div on a page on the home page. And so hopefully you'll join me on this journey as we continue to walk through what it looks like to build from a Figma file all the way to launch in Webflow. So hope to see you on the next video.